Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Stool podcast. This is episode 12 of season 7, and it's also going to be our last guest for the season. Now, we went back through our Rolodex of all of our A-list celebrities, international and local, and we decided there was only one that really made the cut. It's someone who we've had on the show before and someone who we seem to talk about a lot on the show. And with that, I'd like to say welcome back, Jem from LikeButter.
Thanks, Robin. Thanks, guys.
How are you, Jim?
Hey. I should have prepared a jingle.
Oh, you should have.
I thought about it, but reality set in. Yeah, thanks for having me back. And I would just want to say thank you to all of you for doing this, because I'm a listener of the show, and I'm also a maker of a podcast, and I know how much of a grind this can be. Sometimes just be like, oh, because you do that again.
Yeah, got to put everything down and just do the thing.
So thanks.
Jem, give your podcast a wee name drop there for
parts department with Justin from PDX.
Yeah. Awesome.
If I remember correctly, when we had you on the show last, had you just started the podcast?
I was trying to work out when I was on last. Maybe, yeah. It's probably about 2 years ago.
I think it was around then, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you just started it up.
So,
yep.
You've been doing all sorts of crazy stuff with robots, and we've been talking on the fringes of like robotics and how we're all about to be out of a job. So, do you want to depress us more by waxing lyrical about how we will all be out of a job soon?
Sure. I've been thinking a lot about this in terms of I'm quite self-conscious about the robot thing because I've bought these 6 20-year-old Swedish robots, and I'll get to why there's 6 of them. That's another story. But it's pretty awkward timing, I think the rise of AI tech being seen to be mucking around with these labor-saving devices amongst the sort of the more broad chat around, job losses and what's going to happen to us all. But then, reflecting on that, it's like, no, these things are, this technology's 50 years old. These robot arms have been around forever. They've been making the cars we drive forever. And how's, if I'm in justification mode, it's like, how is it any different from the CNC machine?
Yeah.
It's just another computer-controlled device. It just happens to be arm-like, and then people kind of, what's the expression? Humanize it.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that's where I guess where it is slightly different to what we consider AI today. Our jobs are going to be the last ones to go, plumbers, electricians, whereas your robots are bridging that gap.
Yeah.
So you could be seen as pioneering the death of our industry. Not to over-dramatize.
I'll take it.
not to over dramatize, but you are the evil overlord, Jem.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm happy to take that title.
I feel like there's a bit of I get what you're saying, Jim. It makes perfect sense that the physical machinery, CNC, and even these robot arms have been around for a while. But do you think that the brains to run them just hasn't been there up until, say, now? Like, is AI making a huge difference with how these robots operate, or the ease in which it is to program them, or is it not really that big of a deal yet?
Look, there's 2 things in that. Yes, it's made a massive difference in terms of my personal sense of accessibility diving into this world. It's like I've been interested in buying like a cobot or one robot for 10 plus years. Originally I was thinking about it for welding, and I'd looked at secondhand robots on and off over the years, and they're just a black box. Like, you're buying this secondhand industrial piece of kit with very little context and information about what condition it's in, whether it's even going to turn on, how the hell do you program it. And so through this sort of unique opportunity of being offered a 6-pack, the timing was also just right in that these AI tools are accessible for me to go, cool, I'm getting robots on my floor in 3 weeks. Teach me everything. Like I've hours and hours of conversations with the robot assistants about the other robots, the AI assistants about like, cool, teach me rapid code. There's this new language I need to learn. Tell me about this and blah, blah, blah. Just going down these rabbit holes. So that when the robots hit my floor, I had so much more familiarity and just had some sense of what I was going to do and how I was going to do it before they landed, which in the past I think just would have been much harder to acquire that knowledge that quick.
Yeah, I mean, if you were lucky, you might have like a Yellow Pages size manual that was stuck in a crevice somewhere, but it was probably in German or something, so you couldn't even tell what was going on, right?
What were these in a previous life, Jem? What were they used for?
Well, their most immediate previous life was in a timber manufacturing shop, a really interesting workshop called Joseph's Workshop in Thomastown. And this guy, Joseph, who I kind of was aware of, but we'd never met, we'd never chatted, he just called me out of the blue on a Wednesday afternoon and said, hey, Jem, I know you work. I've got these robots. I've closed my business due to health reasons. I've sold most of my equipment, but I've still got these robots, and I figure you might be someone who might be, well aligned or interested. And I was like, well, I'm in Melbourne tomorrow. I'll come and visit. I'll have a chat. And it was just a really unique opportunity because, like that black box factor I mentioned, just like, what the hell are these things? Joseph was just so incredibly generous of like explaining to me how they worked and like showing me examples of how he'd use them in his wood shop. And even just like, just that sort of generosity in his knowledge was a massive foot in the door to be able to go, oh, okay, I can imagine how I'm going to use these things. And just, even just getting the first few programming examples from him of like, even just how the hell to turn them on and home it. Like,
right.
because they're industrial robots, there's a lot of documentation online, but it's also kind of hidden behind this sort of industrial wall. There's not heaps of YouTube videos about them with like DIYers showing you how to turn it on at home and stuff like that.
And it must have a terrible UI, right? It must just be like...
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
The worst thing ever.
And not only that, from watching other videos on it, these things can be death traps as well. Because you've got to be out of the way when that thing starts going.
Yeah,
take your head off.
They don't really stop.
Yeah.
As I discovered last night when I smashed it into my fixture. But prior to that machine, that wood shop, they were industrial welding and part handling robots in car factories. So 2 of the big ones came from Holden, South Australia, before Holden shut down, and the other big one came from Jaguar Land Rover in the UK.
Crazy.
So, and
they've
done
the life.
50,000+ hours of continuous labour in car factories.
Crazy.
Now, obviously, these can do a lot more than what you've been able to up till now. Are these able to perform in your existing product line? And do you have ideas for potentially new products or new ideas now that you have these?
Yes and yes. But I'm just totally overwhelmed, to be honest. Like, I'm at a point now where I've explored so many bloody ideas about how I might even just start to use these things. And there's all these other ideas of like, cool, in the future, I'd love to try that. And like multi-axis. One of them's got a machining spindle on it, like the same as our routers. So I can do like multi-axis, 6-axis machining.
The holy grail.
Yeah.
If you can program it.
If you can program it, and if you can get the jobs for it. But like, I've got product ideas for multi-axis machining, but it's just like the scope is so large and there's so many opportunities that my brain is just a bit like, where do I even start? And just in the last few weeks, I've really sort of felt that overwhelm of like, shit, I look at my list, I'm like, what do I focus on next? It's like, do that and that and that and that. But it's like, no, just just get the next little bit done so that I can get some parts sanded for our main product line.
Right.
I'm trying to kind of draw my focus in and just get that dialed. You're going to learn a lot from that. It's basic, but that can then feed into the next idea. And it's hard. Yeah, there's just this sort of paralysis of opportunity and possibilities in them because of how versatile they are. And that's challenging. I'm finding.
So for anybody that hasn't seen your videos, you basically taught it to bevel sand like a 45 degree around a curve on your shelves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And coming off a little bit of a high this morning because I crashed it pretty bad last night and like moved the fixture that I'd spent half the day aligning. And so this morning came in early again and realigned everything and then just reset all the programs and got 90% of the way there to a full bevel sand, edge sand, surface sand operation.
Oh wow!
So
one press button done. Like,
yeah.
Wow.
And
so
is that for like
there.
a standard size shelf that you offer, or yeah?
Yeah, one of our standard components.
So obviously the trick becomes like this is like full production line talk, because then suddenly you say, well, how do I get the panel on and off the sanding table?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
should we program another
vacuum
2
lifters
arms?
and
Yeah,
big-
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John and I were talking about this morning, like, do we just get the other robot to hold the part? Would that be easier?
Right.
Because we've got the luxury of having multiple. But I don't know. Again, so many possibilities. It's just trying to like dial back my focus and be like, cool, one thing at a time.
Yeah, because you're
So
still
the minute
running
you
a
just
business.
have one operational and the other 5 are just sitting in the background, just lurking.
I've got 3 that I can switch on and jog around, and
Right.
1 that I've really only done any serious programming work with. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, Joey.
No, you're right. I mean, Jim, you've still got to run LikeButter. So, I mean, is that kind of doing its own thing? Or are you like, you've just lost focus and you're playing with robots and then you're still trying to get out orders somehow?
Yeah, it's a total balance of like, no, got to go quote some jobs now, so there's
Right.
money in the bank. And yesterday I was just having a pretty shit day and felt fairly down. And I got in the morning, I was like, I don't really want to be here, but I've got to get everything together so the day runs smoothly and get jobs out the door. And then by about 10 o'clock, I was like, no, stuff it. I'm just going to go and do 2 hours of work on the robots.
Right.
And that like really sort of bolsters my mood because I'm in that sort of playful tinkering space for a couple of hours. And then, the afternoon was much better because I kind of ticked off that like...
Yeah.
It's me time. Like I love that. It's like the pencil sharpener again. It's like spending, commissioning, coding, programming, problem solving. Like I love being in that mode.
I'm very glad to hear you talk like that because I occasionally want to do that, but I feel like if I'm not being 100% what's the word, income driven, then I'm being a terrible. But Joey, especially, I find you seem to be very locked in on if it's not paying the mortgage, it's out the door. So I'm glad to hear you say that, Jem. Is that are you doing those things with a long-term goal, or do you feel like it's really just this might lead to something?
I think a lot of, like you asked pre-show about like how to come up with product ideas, like a lot of our best product ideas have come from undirected play and tinkering. So I'm aware that time is really valuable to me, both personally but also from a business point of view. But it's still a really hard balance to make. It's like if I look at, looking at the bank account this morning, because I run a sort of pretty strict weekly revenue schedule. I'm entirely in charge of sales. And we run this sort of, it's profit first, if you've read that book, but it's like this distribution bucket. It's basically a bucket money system where it's like there has to be the revenue target in the bank account by Tuesday night every week. And so it's every week I feel this pressure of like, cool, which quotes are out there which might convert by Tuesday night. And so like, this morning, it's like, do I stuff around with the robots and get them that fixture realigned, or do I do work on quotes and things that are going to close that cash gap in the next 12 hours. So it's a constant balance.
An interesting, I don't know, we don't have to go down the talking about money road too much, but
Happy to.
I used to always work on a weekly basis as well, and the stress from it was pretty overwhelming. I used to find, especially when I had a full-time employee, whenever payday was Thursday night, money was going out, and it was like, shit, if money hasn't come in by Thursday morning, something's got to give, right? I've got to find that cash flow. And now my wife, who does all the accounting, changed to a monthly budget.
Okay.
And I can see why businesses run this way, because it's just too difficult to chase money weekly, especially if you think about your clients' lives are crazy busy as well, and you provide a service, give them the thing, give them the invoice, and it gets buried or it gets forgotten, or they're under some money crunch, and it might not come in for a couple of days either for them, and then they pass the money on to you, and by then you've missed your deadline, and you're always playing catch up by a couple of days because everyone else is as well. But we just shifted probably this year to a monthly kind of payment, or a monthly target for me, and every month my wife puts a post-it on the whiteboard, and like, that's how much we need this month. And it's a big number, but it's much easier to chip away at that number as and when money comes in, however that is. But I don't have to think about Friday night or Thursday night.
Yeah.
It's just I've got 30 days to like work my way and just be head down for 2 weeks straight. I'll just be smashing out work, and then I can see that those numbers are going to start adding up, and I can start relaxing, and I get like usually 1 or 2 weeks of like much less stress to just see that money roll in a more natural way than try and force it every couple of days.
Yeah, well, I can see that. And then I'm torn. I don't really know, but the weekly cycle has worked quite well for us over the 18 months. So, for context, 18 months ago, we downsized quite aggressively. As a result of decisions that I made, having tried to grow for about 2 years, we reached a point where we had 10 staff.
Wow.
We were trying to do about 1.8 million in revenue a year, kind of whatever, it's 160k a month or something, and we failed. And I take responsibility for that, and made like a really shit decision to like lose the majority of our team, and went from 10 down to 4 about 18 months ago. And that was the time I read this book, Profit First, and then I read it again. I was like, cool, this could get us out of trouble, and switched to that weekly distribution cycle.
Okay.
And have been doing it ever since. And it's, it's, in short, I think it saved the business for me. But that weekly cycle it is such a grind. And we still try and run a 4-day week as well. So it's like, cool, we've got 4 days.
Yeah, that's tough.
I need to find $23,000 every 4 days. It's like, cool. And when it works, it's a high, and when it's behind, it's stressful.
Yeah.
But I used to find with the monthly cycle, it was too easy to be like, oh, that week was a bit crap. That's all right. We'll make it up. And then that's kind of how the business went backwards so far, because we're like, oh, October wasn't great. That's all right. We'll get it. We'll do a better month in November.
Yeah.
Oh, November wasn't great. All right, we'll make it up. And then like suddenly you're hundreds of thousands of dollars backwards, and having to make really hard decisions. So
do you mostly? Well, I can speak to my businesses. Typically, now a lot of my jobs are bigger price point things. So if I get one come through in the month, that's going to tide me over most of the way, and I can put a couple of other smaller things in there. But are you doing a lot of smaller, because those kit parts things, like, are you selling mostly smaller sale size kit parts, or they get it quite chunky?
It varies. Like our ideal job, what we've identified as our ideal job, is worth about 5K.
Right. Yeah.
But our average order value is probably about 1.5.
Okay.
So that's about 15 orders a week on average.
Right.
And a lot of that's web orders, or has been. Web orders are pretty slow at the moment, but that sort of $2,000 to $5,000 mark is our sweet spot.
Yeah, I think most
Did you
people would
find
be
that
happy.
that decision that you made 18 months ago, did that align with the timing of you creating that kit parts generator software? Was it around then?
No, that came after that point.
Came after, right? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
the one
that's been worthwhile. Like the amount of time that it took you to create the software has now does it effectively run itself?
Yeah, it's still got bugs in it. Like it's DIY, vibe coded as they call it, AI coded website that I made for that kit parts configurator. But I've put when did I launched it in February? Because we'd already invested in a third-party configurator tool made in Finland.
Right. Maybe that's what I was thinking about.
We ran that for about a year.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was pre-downsize. We invested in that. Spent a lot of money on someone else, on another developer, developing that, and then ran it. And it was quite an expensive subscription. It was like $1,200 a month, that thing. It was okay, but it was hard to justify. We needed to sell a lot more to justify it. And then the AI coding tools got to a point where I was like, oh, actually, I reckon I can pull this off.
Right.
And so at the start of the year, I had another crack at it and put that online in Feb. And I've put over 100K worth of orders through that configurator now. And, it was evenings, many, many evenings of work, but relatively low investment.
I imagine it removes probably 5 emails per client, though.
It's a massive help.
Yeah.
Because the client, has some sense of what they want in terms of just spatially, like, oh, this and this and this and this. And even if they only get 60% of the way there and then send it to me to finish, it's a massive help in terms of that communication piece. Yeah.
I reckon the literacy as well with the IKEA generators and stuff have definitely it allows everyday people who have no experience just a bit of confidence to play with it.
Yeah, it's definitely a step above, because you have a product and it has its finite dimensions and everything's you can have a creator, which is genius. I build similar type bookcases and things that you're selling, but they're much more, for want of a better term, they're more bespoke, because it's making things to fit exactly a space rather than get as close as you can with a pre-made piece, right? And the clients always say, "What I want to make this bookcase. What's the next step? Can you come and measure?" And I'm like, "I'm not coming out to your site until you give me money. So no, I'm not going to come and measure." I have a copy and paste email that is just, do some homework, sketch this. I say, you have to do homework for me. You've got to sketch what you want. You've got to give me some dimensions.
Do you see why I made the comment earlier about Joey being income focused?
Well, because I don't know where people got this idea. Maybe it used to happen a lot in the old days where there were better wages. I don't know what, but it seems like everyone expects the tradesman just to come and have a chat for half a day. In what world do I get to then do some work? It's like, so the first thing I say is do some homework, make a sketch, take some pictures of the space, take some basic dimensions, give me some pictures of the things you like or you want it to look like, and I'll put all that into SketchUp. I'll spend 15 minutes on a real quick sketch of the space, bam, make it look pretty, and say, this is going to cost you around this many, whatever, 10 grand. You're going to be spending 10 grand if you want this. And then I will or will not hear from them. But with the configurer, it's like the clients have already pretty much have made the decision that they're going to be spending money. And I assume that the configuration tool gives some kind of estimate as they're doing
prices as they build, and I
and
think
it's
that's,
like genius. Yeah,
it's so useful as a qualification tool because someone can not even contact me; they can jump on there and start building kind of roughly what they think, and they're like, "Oh, $3,000, yeah, no thanks," and then that inquiry never even comes to me. So they've pre-qualified themselves out, which is fantastic.
But on the flip side of that is they go and they kind of configure what they think they want. Oh, $3,000. Great, but I want it a bit different. Let's get Jim to customize it so it's like walnut or something, and then I don't mind spending another $3,000 because you have those kind of clients.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens. They'll send it to me and be like, "This is close, but ... So I think that qualification thing is such a big deal. Like what you're chatting about, of like getting people asking you to come on site, like. By you asking them to do homework, it's you qualifying them. If they can't produce that, if they can't put that effort in and produce that, then it's probably not a client or a job you wanted.
That's something I've really started pushing in the last 12 months is like, I used to say, would you mind doing this? Give me some idea of that. And now it's much more, this is what you have to do. And if I don't hear from you, see you later. It's not meant to be. Because if you're not willing to do that work and be a part of this collaboration, like it's not just me. And I get that some people aren't creative, and that's why they come to people like us. But you've got to, we can't just work from a blank piece of paper.
Oh, you can for a bigger budget.
Yeah, you don't get many of them.
One thing that I noticed, Jem, I think you were advertising on maybe Facebook or Instagram or something, advertising the kit parts. And I remember people commenting extremely negatively about the price point of it.
Really?
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And it was such an amazing thing that I saw people defending your business so you didn't have to do it. I saw people commenting on it going, it's made in Australia. He's literally invested all this money in this generator so you can create your own custom thing. Like, that's all part of your price point. It was fascinating.
That was a lucky break, that reel. That it was organic. It went semi-viral. I can't remember. It got into the many hundreds of thousands of views, that video. And there was only a couple of people that jumped in. Like, I think they were US based, and they jumped in and saw $2,000 and were like, no fucking way. And and then amazingly, I've got a lot of people on there on Insta who jumped in and sort of came into bat for me. But then it also gave me the opportunity to respond to that video, which again did really. There was 3 months earlier in the year where Instagram went from maybe 20,000 eyeballs a month to like 300,000 eyeballs a month for us.
Yeah, crazy.
Off the back of that reel.
It was around that time. I don't know.
Okay.
Like, there were a couple of videos that just went nuts and got us, a few tens of thousands more followers and a lot of eyeballs. And it's only just started sort of slowing down from that, and that's with me putting zero effort into it.
Yeah,
because I'm so over Instagram, I just do not want to.
Yeah,
you're not the first person. You're not the first person who was Instagram heavy who I've heard say that. A friend of mine here who has done quite well on Instagram.
This guy.
Also, he said the same. I can't remember. We were talking a while ago, and he said 5 years ago it seemed like a level playing field, but now it's just impossible.
It just makes me unhappy. Like, I'm addicted to my phone.
Oh, you're talking about so you're not talking about
everything.
No, you're talking about the
both,
whole.
Both.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
The business engagement factor. Like, I know it's a valuable asset for us, and that's why I haven't deleted it and continue to just play the game at the fringes. But I'm just the whole thing. I'm so over it.
Yeah,
I'd love to find an alternative.
100% on board with you. I think. So what I started Instagramming, I don't know, 2014 or 15 or something like that, and it was really close-knit woodworking community that kind of came over from YouTube to a certain degree, I think. And there was, for me at least, it was a lot of it's. Instagram was used as a bit of a a way for furniture makers to talk to each other kind of privately but publicly. You would like say, this is what I'm doing, how should I do this? Everyone would just be posting pictures of like close-ups of mortises and stuff, like, look what I got, like, look how sharp my chisel is. Just really inside baseball stuff. And it was nice, and it was like just friendly, and people were having fun. And if you got a client from it, then it was kind of cool. And now it's just a portfolio of who's got the prettiest things at the detriment to everything else, and AI
with the highest production value as well. So it's like having to achieve a certain look that it's like that YouTube thumbnail game, right?
Yes.
It's like there's a science to it that not only the algorithm promotes, but humans are naturally drawn to. And if you're not in that level of production, then sorry.
And I think if because I do get a certain amount of business from it, I have to keep it. It's the best portfolio for me when someone says, have you made, or could you make me this thing? And I say, here's a link to the one I made like that. That's cost this much. And it's like a real easy way to get people pictures of things. Yeah. And that's why I keep it. But
same.
Yeah, it's definitely not as nice as it used to be.
Before the show, we were talking, Jim, you mentioned that you are potentially moving workshop. Is this something that's public knowledge? Or are we cutting it from the episode?
No, happy. No. I've mentioned it on my pod. You guys are just leading the way. You know that working from home or near home is the way to go. So I'm just following suit, really. Laura and I are thinking pretty seriously to the point where we've got a planning application in about selling this workshop that we built 6 years ago.
Sorry, a planning application to sell?
No, sorry, a planning application to build at home.
Oh, okay.
So sell this, build at home, pick everything up and take it home.
You got enough space to build a little thing, or you squeeze something in?
Squeeze something in. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you on, you're going to need, what is it, boundary when they relaxation?
No.
Is the shed going all the way to the fringes of the property?
We've got plenty of land, but it's all very hilly. There's no flat ground. It's not like Brian's flat pad.
Be like mine, cliff faces.
Yeah. Steep drops galore, so we can just squeeze in something that's big enough. But we're also gonna trying to, because we're in farming zone, we're not gonna get an industrial permit to operate something as big as this there.
Right.
So we're actually going to build quite a relatively modest shed and then try and squeeze through this council home-based business rule.
Yep.
Which would mean the Butter's primary business operations would have to be contained to 100 square meters.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted to get into the weeds of this because I think this is something that's very under-discussed, and there's probably so many of us out there working illegally. You said you can't get an industrial permit.
Correct.
Because you're in a farming zone. So does that not... So they don't overlap? I would have assumed if you're in farming land, you can build whatever you want.
You can, but it has to be used for agricultural purposes. And
what a bizarre restriction to add onto it. I mean, I guess it's because otherwise you're going to be pumping out CO2 from what should be a paddock.
I think it's more about like this land was intended to farm and produce, meat.
They don't want to intensify. They don't want to lose. Like, we have similar rules here with it. If it's classed residential or commercial or rural. If it's rural, then you have to be doing things that are rural and not things that you would do in
commercial,
built-up areas.
And we spoke to council about it, and the planning officer we were chatting to, he was great. He was like, look, the farming land around here is useless. It shouldn't be zoned that way, but it is. And if you look at the regs and you try and apply an industry permit to this, it's just going to be like, no, does not comply. So he basically said, don't bother. Just try and, if you can squeeze it into the home-based business, then do that.
Home-based business, and that's a Victoria initiative?
Maybe, not sure.
Is it a 100 square meter footprint?
The shed's going to be sort of double that size. Half of it will be Laura's studio, because Laura's a practicing artist. And half of it will be LikeButter. So, we'll make it work. Like I've
But could you go 2 stories? Could you put a mezzanine in it?
You could, but then that would double your floor plan. So
Right. Okay. So it's done off floor area rather than 100.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
What about a range of kit aparts chicken coops? Would that be
Yeah.
Agricultural. I like it.
That's an interesting idea. There must be something that
Cattle
farmers
crush?
need. Yeah.
It's like I won't name him, but during the lockdowns when it was who was deemed. Do you remember all the chat, Jem, on the Instagram groups of the makers in Melbourne? Like, who's valid for a permit? Like who supports the building industry? Who supports this?
That's right.
And I won't name him, but I don't think I've talked about this in the pub before. But he loves a loophole. You know him, Jem. He loves a loophole, and he was looking through all the different things that would give him that permit to work. And he's like, coffin maker. He literally knocked up a plywood coffin and just leant it up against the front of his shed in case the police were called. And he's like, there's my coffin. If you want one, I can sell you one. Yeah.
Oh my god.
He knows who he is.
Yeah.
And so you go, Joe.
Over here, the rigs for the home-based business essentially are no more than 5 employees. You can do whatever you like in a legal building, but
Cool.
they don't want you adding all this extra traffic and trucks and stuff coming and going to the whatever neighborhood. So you have to be careful about where parking is and how many trucks might come. But there's no restriction on the size of it. That's up to the building code, not the business. So
Yeah, and I'm sure like 90% of people in our shire are doing exactly that. Like they've got the shed in their paddock, and like nobody's checking it, nobody cares.
Yeah.
We're just playing it safe by the book.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And I do
Well,
believe
it certainly
people.
cuts down on overheads.
It will. Two mortgages is so boring. I'm sorry.
Boring is a word.
And I do believe more people would fall in line with this if there was more sort of I don't want to say resources because the resources are there, but if it was more easily digestible topic, because I just think there's so much red tape around it. So it's cool to hear you say that your planning office has been really helpful. I've always had a great time with council here in Townsville, but you still have to know a little bit to make those initial steps. And I think most people, if you don't know what you don't know. And so it's just a daunting task that no one wants to take on.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, thankfully I've got Laura on the team who has played this game a lot. Ironside Studios, which is how I know Bryan, was Laura's business. Laura says hi, by the way, Bryan. And, she's done the planning stuff a lot. She's done the layout of spaces a lot. And so she can talk the talk. And so you put her in front of a planning officer and she knows the right questions to ask and is comfortable. So, yeah, huge asset with doing something like this. She's also incredibly by the book. Like, she will not do anything that's...
I remember the old when the old fire inspectors, the regulations changed on the building.
yeah.
Jesus. But yeah, it is just a really tricky thing when you're working as a maker or an artist or something to then take industrial planning regs or building regulations and try to apply that to a business that has very, very small revenue in comparison to other businesses and just expect them, we'll find the money for $100,000 worth of fire equipment. Like,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So 10 square meters or 100 square meters, and those are a lot of robot arms. Are they coming with you?
No, not all of them.
Okay.
So yeah, I've done a whole bunch of workshop designs in Rhino, and I started off in 2D, and I was like, oh yeah, this is feasible, it all looks pretty good. And then at one point I started doing it in 3D. I was just like, oh shit, this is really
All these robots are going to be high-fiving each other.
So yeah, I was a little bit scared of showing the team the 3D version, but we have had a look at it now and chatted through it. But it's just going to be a challenge. Like, it's going to have to be a really lean shop. It's going to have to be really tidy, and like no wasted space. Like, we've got almost 500 square meters of slab here, and we're just luxuriating in space.
Right.
Like, you know, I've sold a few machines recently. It's like we've just got so much room. It's too big for us. It's it's a luxury having that space. It's great, but we can tighten things up so much, and it will also force our hand of like, cool, we just don't do that sort of work anymore. It's like let's focus even further on what we're good at, what we know, what we can do well, what's profitable. Stop doing those sorts of jobs because they're a faff and we lose money on them anyway, which means we don't have to keep all of that sort of material in stock. What do we actually need? What do we actually want to do? And pick that sort of real core focus, because the more we've done that over the years, the more we've benefited from it. Like, we've grown up from being a business that said yes to absolutely everything, which, resulted in a great deal of growth and put us where we are. But, for the last 2 or 3 years, we've gotten much better at saying no. And that.
But that's a business maturity stage, right? Like,
totally, yeah.
So
everybody
important.
goes through it.
Yeah. I've got a bloody teenager. No, I've got an adult. This thing's 18 years old now.
Whoa.
It's can legally drink and drive. Not at the same time.
Not at the same time.
But yeah.
It's so important to recognize. I think we have talked about this so much, but to recognize what you can do, but what you should or shouldn't do. Just because you can make the thing that the people ask for, doesn't mean it's a good business decision at all, because that that's just going to lead on to this problem, and you just don't want to deal with it. And there's other people set up for that exact thing. So maybe you should just steer the client over to those neighbors who can do it really well, and you can carry on doing what you do really well.
Like, just because you can repair a broken blackbird, it doesn't mean you should repair a broken blackbird, right?
I think it's more around the packaging. Just because you can package it doesn't mean you should. But it's super important though as well to know when. I think to say no to stuff at the wrong time, to say no to jobs at the wrong time, is just as damaging. So, Joey, listening to you talk, you are so far into your career. It's a very valid statement to make. I don't have that luxury. I have to say yes to everything and just work as hard as I can and potentially file for divorce until, and it's only when I was writing a script for an upcoming video and I coined it so nice. I wish I could remember what it was, but essentially, when you are so busy, that's the only time. That's when you start saying no to jobs. If you're saying no to jobs before that, I don't think it's a good move for a career. If you can squeeze some, especially in the early stages.
I think it's a slippery slope on a grey area though, because I did that for 15 years and almost broke myself and sent myself bankrupt. Literally. I could have started saying no 10 years ago. And the business would have gone a different direction just sooner, or it might have folded and stuffed up. Anyway, it's kind of unknowable, like when that shift should and shouldn't happen. Because by saying no to a non-ideal job, you are effectively making space for an ideal job, and you don't know when that's going to present itself.
Exactly.
So yeah, I totally understand your position, Robin, of you're in that phase of saying yes to everything, and I think that's a good phase to be in because you learn so much doing that.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more, because Robin, only you can learn for yourself what you like to do and what is difficult for you, and what you hate. And it's that old story of leading a horse to water. I could sit here all day and say, don't touch it. But you'll be like, why? It seems I could do that. And then you get halfway through it and you go, fuck.
Shouldn't have done that one.
Bastard of a job.
Yeah.
But now innately, and it's built into your blood that, okay, I probably won't touch that particular thing, or I'll do it so differently that it won't even look the same. It won't be the same kind of job because I'll approach it from the other direction. And that is learning that what you're good at. We talked about it on the podcast. Almost no work. Practically no work. I was applying to be a bloody postie, and and we were 30 grand down. 2 jobs come up, and I could make all of that. I could make about 27,000 from these 2 jobs, but I did not want to do these 2 jobs, and I did them. And one of them paid okay, and the other one I am still owed money for because it's turned out to be one of those jobs you should never have said yes to. But I had to do something to get money in the bank, you know. And now I'm squared. I'm just in the black again. But you know, we were seriously screwed for a bit. And so you've got to make those decisions as well. Shit, I'm going to have to say yes to this thing, which I know I shouldn't. You know, all the red flags, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yours being 18 years old, Jem, I assume you've had many of those ups and downs?
Yeah, constantly. It just never stops, and it's kind of exhausting. Yeah, there's always the next challenge around the corner.
You don't want to hear that about an 18-year-old business. You want to think that it's just relatively smooth sailing by that point.
Jem's just so golfing and sipping beers all day. Like runs itself. He's
My machines will do the job.
20-hour days with 3 kids in tow. Yeah.
No, but look, it's you know, I need to step. I'm not great at stepping back, and sort of I'm terrible at remembering how I felt about things in the past, which means I'm also not very good at sort of recognizing where I am now. So I stop and reflect. You know, I still work 4 days a week. I get Fridays with my kids and the weekend. Yes, I'm on my laptop of an evening quite regularly, tinkering around. But you know, I've got an amazing team around me, and I have very little to do with production now. Orders come in and go out the door. Yes, I'm a bit of a bottleneck when it comes to the custom sales process and the design process, particularly post-downsize. Both of those things are sort of on my plate. So I'm still a bit of a bottleneck, but like I've built a machine that flows pretty bloody well. And, you know, it means that I could, you know, spend the morning playing with some robots and not have to think about what jobs were going out the door and who was doing what at all. Like, the guys just manage themselves.
That's awesome.
Communicate really well and get it done. So,
but that's kudos to you, Jem. Like, I don't think there's another business out there that operates the way yours does. Like, there may be lots of cabinet makers that are sort of a similar scale or bigger scale, but I don't know of a single furniture company that is structured the way yours is, where you give staff so much autonomy and you're there in the background just trying to work on not squeezing them, but trying to make everything work more efficiently for them. Like, it's a beautiful way to manage people.
Yeah. I mean, having staff is one of the greatest challenges I've found of running a business, but also one of the most rewarding bits. So it's like this weird, whatever that word is. Yeah, and I've got great people. Like, you know, I've got Johnny Fenderson, who's arguably one of the best 3-axis machinists in the country, in my opinion, and Ben and Rowan, and they're great operators. And yeah, that team culture is so important, and that was one of the downsizing was incredibly difficult because I had a big team, but they were also a fantastic team. I had to say goodbye to some really special people, but it also just helped refine everything. Like, suddenly going from 10 to 4, it's like, cool, HR is just not a thing anymore. Like, I don't have to have those conversations anymore.
Yeah,
you guys get it. We're all on the same page. It was just like, boom, let's go, push ahead.
It really is a massive kudos to you, Jim, because if you ever talk to a business coach, and I did earlier on, in fact, I just had one trying to recruit me 10 minutes before the show started. They will say, usually they'll open up with something like, if you can take a week off and come back and your business is still running, ticking along, then you have a business. If you take a week off and nothing happens in the workshop, then you just have a job. That's often what they'll come to. And like Bryan said, I don't think there's anyone in the space who have actually got a business. Everyone is like one or two man kind of artisanal shops, and it's you've got a whole different level of taking that artisanal piece of furniture product and making it streamlined, and you essentially don't even touch the products that go out your door, and to get to that point is massively difficult, and I respect the hell out of you for doing what you're doing and sticking at it. It's great.
And to establish it in a regional part of Australia as well. Like, this is not in. I know your base was in Melbourne, but to have got that quality of staff to go, you know what, we're going to change our lives and we're going to move out to live a different life with the business. Like, it is family. Like, it's not employees, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that shift from the city was a big one, and fraught with some trepidation of like, whoa, we're so city based. What's this going to do to our clientele? And our team. Our team has shifted since then. But at the time, all our key staff came with us for the country move. They moved house when we moved shops, and yeah, like it is family, really. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right, we're going to have to leave it there because we're coming up to time. But thanks for being the last guest on for the season, Jem. That was awesome to hear the story and get a nice updated, revised version of where you are and what you're doing.
Thanks, guys. It's always
thanks.
I love the show. So it's great to be back, and I find listening to it, I often want to chip in. So it's nice to be here.
Oh, that's great, man. Thank you for all the honesty and the shares and everything, because that's kind of what we always wanted this show to be, like a real honest analysis of business and art and culture and all those kind of things. And yeah, it's just, there's a lot of personal stuff that people share, and thank you for being part of it.
Yeah, it's not easy, and everyone's grinding in their own different way with their own challenges, so that, just talk to each other. Like, if you're in trouble or having a hard time, just bloody reach out and talk to each other, because we've got to keep talking.
Yeah, great advice.
And just one last plug for your podcast, Past Departments. If anyone else wants another podcast to listen to, it's a really good one. No, I don't mean it like that. I mean, we can always listen to one more. I also want to quickly point out the book that you talked about in the beginning, Profit First. Is that by Mike Michalowicz?
Mike Michalowicz, yeah. I avoided that book for years because the title grossed me out. I was like, I'm not going to read something.
Sell out.
Gross.
Yeah.
Changed my life, changed my business. Just ignore the title and bloody read it. Anyone in business.
I'm going to look into it.
Check it out. Yeah.
Cool.
Great.
All right, mate. All the best.
Thanks,
and
guys.
we'll talk to you again soon.
Sweet. Play us out.
Thanks,
Jingle.
Jim.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.